So today, it happened guys. We got our first official look at what is in store for Planetside 2 in the year of 2022 with a roadmap. I have to say, it feels incredibly strange, if not entirely alien, to put the words Planetside and roadmap in the same sentence unironically, but well, here we are. The year has started off with a bang with the release of Oshur, and now we know how the developers are planning on following through for the rest of the year. G'day there once again viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we're going to be going over the complete roadmap for Planetside 2 for 2022. I gotta just emphasize guys, it's been a long ass time since Planetside has received a roadmap of any kind. I mean, we kinda got one for 2021 at the very end of 2020 in the dev stream, but that was a pretty vague plan in regards to when content would be making an appearance. But this is definitely the most fleshed out and detailed roadmap we have received as a player base in a long ass time. We have a lot to unpack here today gang, so we're just gonna get into it and go from top to bottom. The roadmap has been divided into 3 trimesters for the year, each sporting their own planned content and feature releases. We have release windows from January to April, May to August, and September to December. And there's a lot to look forward to as far as flagship features and releases are concerned for these release periods. You know, it even hints at multiple larger scale updates hitting within these time frames. But beyond these feature releases, there's also promise that quality of life stuff like bug fixes, general polish, and continent improvements, especially to Oshur, are going to continue to hit throughout the year, which is fantastic to hear. But in the first trimester, if you will, between January and April, we've got the following things to look forward to: an infantry arsenal update, Empire-specific basilisks, a nav menu update and codex system, and an NSO outfit faction selection for original NSO outfits that existed before the integration update. We'll start off with the infantry arsenal updates. Generally speaking, the developers are planning on taking a pass on weapon attachments to improve customizability, whether that be through looking at existing attachments or adding additional ones. It's nice to hear that attachments are getting further flavor added to them. I'm all for there being more ways to customize weapons to adjust them to particular play styles or gameplay approaches. A lot of first-person shooter games now dial weaponry customization to 11, and it's a huge selling point for those games. So if Planetside takes some steps towards offering more on that front, then that's great in my opinion. Deeper customization for attachments is a win. There's also a keynote of making improvements to less used infantry weapons too, which is going to be great to see. I'm all for weaponry that is simply below average to use getting some love to make it simply fun to run. There are some weapons in this game that are just simply not enjoyable to use, and you've really got to slog through them to get some of your directives done, so I'm hoping we can address that thorn in the backside with this update. I'm keen to see what this means for the general arsenal of the game, and well, just the enjoyment of using some of those less used weaponry. The next entry is a big one for me though, and that is that directive weapons are getting a big ol' revisiting as well. I've long held that a lot of the directive weapons in this game, minus a few standouts, have felt pretty uninspired and lackluster to use and to unlock as well, especially when you pit them up against the grind required to unlocking them. So the fact that we are not only looking at redesigning them but also allowing them to equip different attachments spells good news for me when it comes to the directive weapons. If we can move past directive weapons just being these base weapons that sport unique combinations of attachments as the selling point, then we're kind of heading in the right direction as far as making this stuff feel rewarding. I'll be putting a lot of time in to make sure I've got as many of these directive weapons as possible ahead of the overhaul to review them, so if you're keen on that content, make sure you get subscribed for when it comes out. New Empire-specific mines and class-based grenades are also set to be coming during this release period as well. I'm not sure how I feel about there being new mines added to the game. Mines are a bit cheesy in my opinion, and the less I see of them, typically the happier I am, but it'll be interesting to see exactly what the developers have in mind here. And as far as the class-specific grenades are concerned, I imagine we'll see things like the Havoc grenades come to the Heavy Assault or something like that. The black market is also getting an overhaul with new weapon variants and a directive line as well, which I'm sure many of my fellow directive hunters will be happy about. But that is everything as far as the infantry overhaul is concerned. We're also going to be seeing some new default Empire-specific Basilisk weapons for main battle tanks. Now, much like existing Basilisks that are in the game currently, these are going to focus on being a jack-of-all-trade weaponry, but this time around they're going to be sporting unique audio, visuals, and stats for each faction as far as flavor is concerned. These will also be unlockable for harassers, ants, and sunderers when they release. But it has to be said, that the more Empire-specific flavor we have in this game, the happier I am. I like my Empire flavor, okay? What can I say? It's good to see this happening. I don't know if these new Empire-specific basilisks are going to completely replace the current basilisk, but we'll see what happens. The UI nav menu is also going to be getting a touch-up to bring it more in line with some of the more modernized menus and screens that have been added to the game as of late. We do spend a lot of time in those menus, so fleshing them out and making them nicer to use is going to be a pretty good quality of life update, I feel. It's going to make the game look a little bit more revitalized, I feel, to newer players. I will admit, when I read that there was a codex system being added to the game, however, my sort of initial reaction was like, okay, but why? I originally thought to myself this is just such a low priority thing that it probably could have waited a bit or to the end of the year, because when I read codex, I think lore and storytelling. But then I read into the article a bit and I realized that this codex is also going to be providing useful information about the game's mechanics, its equipment, and some of the stuff about the lore as a bit of a tacked on feature per se. So that's good to see. If the developers can get native video playback on that stuff as well, like maybe some informative content that other community contributors have done, then that's going to be great for informative entries as well, in my opinion. And lastly, a little sprinkle on top for NSO players. Original NSO outfits that were live before the integration update came to the game will finally be able to align themselves to a faction of their choice. Something that's taken a bit of a while to get there, but at least it's finally happening. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is just for the first part of the year. Let's get into part 2, and there's some even more exciting stuff in here, if I do say so myself. Between May and August, we have Outfit Wars to look forward to once again, but with a twist this time, a new naval vehicle, an extension of water combat that came to the game with Oshur, gifting of items, and a relook at the wider squad system in the game. The first, and I think the biggest entry to have on the list here, is that Outfit Wars is coming back, but this time, it's happening on the NEXUS Battle Islands, and this time, it's taking place in a 1v1 format. A lot of people cried out for Outfit Wars to become a 1v1 event, and now, those very players are getting their wish. I'm actually really excited to see how Outfit Wars as a format behaves on these smaller, more traditionally competitive environments and rule sets. The developers have also been working on the back-end logic that allows the game to pit two teams who operate on the same faction against each other without there being any problems. So yeah, it's official. NC outfits are finally going to have the means to TK the hell out of each other without repercussions. First, the friendly fire nerf, and now an Outfit Wars cycle that is legit gonna pit NC on NC potentially. My god, these buffs to NC never stop, and I'm gonna keep smiling to the bank for them. Now, I will admit, I will miss the Outfit Wars experience that came from the 1v1v1 format on Desolation. Yes, I'll admit, it had its problems, and those problems showed their ugly heads on multiple occasions. But it did show off some good stuff that Planetside offers in a more controlled environment when everyone was playing the mode properly, you know, when predetermined collusion wasn't a thing. I feel like for the odd exhibition event, Outfit Wars on Desolation could be a little bit of fun to run every once in a while, but I think the NEXUS Battle Islands will provide a better playing field for tournaments and actual competition. And should a tournament get run once again, I hope to be on the casting team. So yeah, a redefined Outfit Wars is very exciting for some I know, and I kind of hope that the NEXUS Battle Island functionality will be further expanded upon so that players can run internal scrims and such outside of, you know, Outfit Wars cycles. It would just be nice to see this map get used outside of seasonal tournaments, if you will. But anyway, moving on. The next couple of points are something that I really didn't expect to see the developers double down on at all. In fact, in my recent live streams, I made a point of this on multiple occasions. I said that the return on investment for the developers to work on something so heavily that will only have meaningful impact on one continent as it stands right now didn't make much sense to me. But well, here we are. It's been confirmed that the first naval vehicle is coming to the game, and that water combat is getting an extension of its functionality, and I've been made to look like an idiot in the process. To cover the naval vehicle first, we don't know much about this watercraft yet, except for the fact that it will be a Nanite Systems common pool vehicle that will sport its own weaponry and associated directive tree. As it stands, it is a vehicle that will be practically unique to Oshur as far as functionality is concerned due to how the other continents are built, but the dev notes also make a point of, you never know when it comes to where this watercraft will be useful, so I guess we may see water come to other continents in a more meaningful way at some point, who knows. But yeah, given that the water mechanics are primarily reserved for Oshur as it stands, I was very shocked to see a water vehicle on the roadmap here. All power to the devs though, if it's a positive addition to the Oshur experience, then I'm all down for it. And on the topic of the Oshur experience, the developers also want to spend some time fleshing out the water combat, and I'm a little torn on this, because as it stands, water is very much a traversal mechanic that is unique to Oshur Oshur, and even then, traversing the water on that continent doesn't really have much going for it at the moment. Infantry movement is so incredibly slow, and more often than not, you're just better off sort of avoiding the water right now, like flying even over the water. Not to mention that there really isn't many places to have meaningful water combat as it stands outside of the campaign missions as far as I'm aware. You know, there's no underwater bases for us to even fight in the first place, but in saying that, and to eat my own words here a little bit, at this stage, the water combat mechanics are so shallow, no pun intended, that it's not really worth even considering putting bases in there at the moment because so few weapons work underwater and it's a bit of a shallow mess at the moment. So again, I was a little taken aback about underwater combat being a focal point, a bit confused if anything, but I suppose for it to become more viable, work needs to be done on it. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen on that front. There is a keynote in the dev blog that emphasizes that there are going to be more reasons to fight underwater coming too. So maybe my reservations will be sorted out in due time and, you know, underwater combat will become a pretty deep and meaningful mechanic of the game. As it stands, old continents are also planned to get the new water mechanics with this update. Traditional weapons are going to be enabled for underwater use, and there are more aquatic weapons in the works as well to add to the arsenal. With traditional weapons being enabled for underwater use, I'm wondering how the aquatic weapons will maintain a reason to exist, but again, we'll see what the developers have got planned there. In addition to that, the developers are adding a feature that allows you to gift items to players on your friends list that you purchase with Daybreak Cash, which is a nice little feature there. I know some have been asking for an ability to gift items in some capacity for a long time now, so to see it finally come into the game, that's nice to see. But another big one for a lot of players I know is going to be the revisiting of the squad system. Here, things like the squad system finder, the abilities of a squad, and the squads themselves are all slated to get big functionality cleanups and usability passes. I imagine stuff like fire teams, for example, are going to be among the big list of things that are going to be addressed in this update to make them more meaningful. But the most interesting little tidbit we got in relation to squads here, in my opinion, was the concept of garrison squads, which are slated to be temporary squads formed from loose players or smaller squads of players who are all operating in the same area. The functionality aims to plop these loose players or small squads into larger groups of squads if they happen to be attacking or defending locations together to increase cohesion, this being something that you can opt into. So solo players, don't fret, this system won't be forced upon you. But when the fight is over, or if you move on to a new location, the garrison members of that squad leave with no strings attached. You can also choose to continue operating with the newfound friends as well. It's an interesting concept, one that I think might be a healthy addition to the game as far as the new player experience is concerned and getting people involved in the team play aspects of the game. So I'm keen to see how that plays out. And that pits us very nicely for the end of the year. Safe to say that we've been pretty diverse so far. We've touched a lot of the aspects of the game to try and work on as many systems as possible. And as we close out the year with the September-December segment of the roadmap, we have an update to war assets, the addition of outfit alliances and contribution metrics, Bastion customization, Empire-specific MBT cannons, and the big old 10-year anniversary of Planetside 2. First up, war asset updates. The devs are planning on continuing to expand upon the initial work that was made in the escalation update that dropped early 2020 with new war assets, as well as polishing existing call-ins and how they behave on the battlefield. Among this, they also plan on revisiting how outfit resources are rewarded as well. I have no idea what this could mean, and to be honest, I wouldn't even know where to begin on the speculation front either, so that's something I'll have to wait and see with keen eyes, I guess. We're also going to be seeing merit and loyalty get streamlined, which good. They've always been such an awkward currency up until this point, so I hope they get their much needed attention as well. In addition to that, outfits are also going to get the ability to ally up at the end of this year. This is something that I know many have been asking for since the very first Outfit Wars season, and well, it's finally happening. The intent here is to give multiple outfits the means to cooperate on the live server, pull outfit resources together, and yes, this is something that will be explored as an option for future Outfit Wars seasons as well. The developers also want to take the time to work on some means to celebrate outfit efforts and their specific strengths on the continent by acknowledging contribution. The roadmap specifically states that it will be looking mainly at alert contribution, but with Rel hinting on the idea of this looping into gameplay somehow, I'm once again sort of left wondering in anticipation as to what this means down the track. We'll find out more in due time. And as one final note, it's also very clear that the final part of the year here is very much outfit heavy because Bastion fleet carriers are also being put under the microscope for some further tweaks on this roadmap. Key points include customization to a Bastion's visuals, weaponry, and functionality, with the developers making it clear that they don't want the Bastion to just be a flying death machine. They would like it to have more weight in other ways on the continent as well. I have to say, Bastions have very much just become big old flying Hesh machines for a long time now, so to see them get more meaningful uses, that's a good thing in my opinion. Main battle tanks and lightnings are also going to be getting brand new Empire-specific main cannons as well, which again, once again, returning to that additional faction flair, you know, theme that we've got going here from earlier on. I love to see this. I'm keen to see what the developers have got in mind for new cannons for our MBTs and our lightnings there. And in one mysterious way, the final dot point on this roadmap is the 10-year anniversary of Planetside 2, which just reads redacted about 5 times over, wherein which Rel has said that, well, they've got big things planned for the 10th year of this game being live. 10 years for a live service game is a huge accomplishment, and the developers want to celebrate appropriately. What this means for the game, I've absolutely no idea. Are they planning on releasing another continent? Are they planning on going bigger than a continent? We'll soon find out in due time. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the roadmap for Planetside 2 in 2022 as of today. Now, of course, guys, it should be said that this roadmap could change. There is a chance that things could get delayed outside of initial planned release windows, and we've got to be open to that possibility. So if you come back to this video, you know, 6 months down the line and you're wondering where X feature is and why this hasn't released yet, give it time, guys. Most roadmaps are pretty speculative as far as exact release dates, and hopefully the developers can deliver on all of the stuff they're promising here. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to backhand the like button. It goes a long way, and let me know in the comment section down below what you guys are most looking forward to on this roadmap. Are you excited for 2022 Planetside, or does nothing scratch that itch for you on this roadmap? Let me know down below. Be sure to stay subscribed for more content. I've got a lot in the works right now, guys, after getting back from holidays, so I look forward to sharing it all with you soon. And as always, all my social media links are linked in the description down below. Be sure to give us a follow there too, guys. Once again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.